Welcome to Forward Joy, Robin. I'm
Hello.
so excited to talk to you today.
So lovely to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, I just want to jump into this because we both have Jamaican immigrant parents
Okay.
and we're both raised in Westchester.
Yes,
Where are your parents from?
my parents are from Kingston. My dad's
Okay.
originally from Annotto Bay.
So
Um,
my dad is also from an area right outside of Annotto Bay. So when I was
really?
reading Crash Into Me, I was
Really?
like, what is this is
What's,
crazy. So
where,
he's from, I think it's called Camberwell. He grew up like on the top of a mountain, but Annotto Bay is basically
like overlooking it?
like
Yep.
the closest area, I feel like, to where he lives.
Hold on. I'm looking up Camberwell,
Yeah.
Jamaica.
I'm like, if it even comes up, I don't know. One of his sisters still lives in the house that they grew up in. So he's taken me there twice, but once I was a baby and
No, I
we
found
went,
it. I
oh,
found
you
it.
found it.
I found this school, the King Camberwell Primary School in Broadgate, and it's right overlooking Annotto Bay. So,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I know. Like
Wow.
maybe we're related somewhere.
That's
Um
crazy. Rutherford. Okay.
yeah, but yeah, my dad grew up like on literally at the very top of this mountain and
Yep.
they owned like a ton of land. So, he grew up with his family had cows and chickens and like all the animals and stuff like that. His grandparents are buried in the backyard, like
Oh my gosh.
that whole deal. It's really special.
That's so wonderful. Do you go back often?
I started going back every year in 2016, and I would always go down with my dad. My dad
Right.
actually just went yesterday.
Oh,
So
wow.
he still does like a yearly trip. My mom has not been back since before I was born, so over 40
Wow.
years.
And
And
where is she from?
she's from Kingston.
Kingston.
Um, and so yeah, I was going from 2016 to 2020. I was going every year with my dad. And then since the pandemic, I've been, I think, twice. I went last year, but I try to like go regularly because we still have family down there.
Yep.
And
Yep.
also it's just like it's the most incredible place on the
Yep.
planet.
It is. It's very special. It's very special. I grew up going like every summer when I was little.
Right.
And then I moved to LA and then it was just harder to get there. And then I had kids. And so I have not, there's people I was not going as frequently.
Yeah.
And I've been twice maybe since the pandemic.
Yeah.
I think I've been twice since we moved to Paris. We moved to Paris shortly after the pandemic. We moved here in
Right.
2022. So I was here in 2023 and 2020.
Yeah.
So I'm due for a trip back.
You are. I know I really
Um,
wanted to go this summer, but I had too much going on, so I couldn't
yeah,
make it work. But I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll go in the winter. I feel like actually like I always end up going in June or
right.
May, which is kind of a weird time to be
Yeah,
down there because
yeah,
there's not, but also it's kind of nice because there aren't a ton of people down
right.
there
Exactly.
at that
Exactly.
time. I'm jealous that you spent all your summers there. I think, when the first time I went, I was 5, and then I was 30 when I went back, like as an adult. And I was really kind of just shocked by how, like, a place that I wasn't actually born could just
Feel like,
feel so, yeah, so much like home.
yeah. Isn't that crazy? I read an interesting book. It's a book about this slave rebellion in Jamaica.
Hmm.
I started reading during the pandemic. Eventually, I put it down, and I really need to pick it up and finish it. But in the beginning, he talks about the enslaved people getting off the ships from Africa
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
arriving in like Kingston Harbor,
Yeah.
how freaked out. I mean, like just like imagining how freaked out they were. Obviously, they're enslaved and the people are speaking different language, whatever. But they were
Right.
just saying how the topography looks so
Yeah.
different than where they were leaving in Africa. And like
Hmm.
the mountains and the greenery and the beaches and all of it was just so foreign and the flora and the fauna. And to me,
Yep.
that's so home. Like
I
it's
know.
so interesting to think of my ancestors being like, what is this? This is foreign.
Right.
This is like not something to welcome. Where for me, I think about getting off the plane and whether it's Montego Bay or Kingston and like
Right.
seeing like all that green, lush, like, and it
I
makes me
know.
so happy and it makes me feel safe. And the idea of seeing that and not
Completely.
feeling safe is just a weird, like I can't wrap
Totally.
my head around that.
Oh, fascinating. I know. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that Jamaica isn't just, yeah, like this like little flat island.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
so, actually last summer when I went, I stayed at Strawberry Hill in Blue Mountain and like,
So
oh my God,
beautiful.
that place is incredible.
So beautiful.
And because I was there in June, there was hardly anyone there. So
Anyone
it felt
there?
like
Yep.
I had the entire hotel to myself.
Oh
I
my
just like took
gosh.
it over. It was
Yep.
so fun.
So beautiful.
And yeah, being up there and like the views, and then you can see obviously down onto Kingston.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
the
you're just
light.
like, it just feels like there's no place like it.
It is. It's such a special place.
It really is. All right. So my first like official question that I usually
Okay.
ask is, what were you like as a kid?
I was an interesting kid. I was creative. I
Hmm.
was nerdy. Um, I was loud and talkative. I had like everything I was I feel like all of my interests as a child kind of like panned out, and everything that I do now kind of
Yep.
who I was then. Like I was very
Yep.
much a theater kid. I was like, in the drama club, and I did like acting classes after school.
Cute.
I wrote and wrote and wrote. I had a journal I kept religiously.
Same.
I started writing short stories like in third grade. I wrote my first book when I was 14. It was 884 pages, handwritten.
Oh my God.
Like I was always with the pen. I had
Was
this.
it with like loose leaf? Like,
It was, yeah, it was. It was
okay.
loosely. It was on legal pad.
Okay.
And then the second book I started when I was 16, and I wrote for like 4 years and then just stopped because I was like, I don't know where this is going and I'm kind of done. And when I
Yeah.
stopped, that was 1,200 pages, and that was all spiral
Oh my
notebooks. I used to have this
God.
massive callus on this finger. It's so funny because like this finger was like totally misshapen from like writing all the time before laptops, obviously, or computers or
Right.
typewriter, like just or using that.
Like the kids
So
today could never imagine writing
no.
even 20 pages, let alone 800
No,
and something.
exactly. So I was bookish in that way, but I was also like a
Yeah.
huge fangirl. Like I loved Duran Duran. Like I was obsessed with them. And when I was young,
Yeah.
it was like Rick Springfield, it was Todd Bridges, it was like
Hmm.
yeah. So I was I went through like all these different phases,
Yeah.
and like I was totally, a little corny. And
Okay.
like
That's okay.
and but like I was the one who's like writing like plays for like my cousins and my sisters like perform for like family Christmas show, and we're gonna do
Oh,
kids in the
cute.
neighborhood, like we're gonna do a play and I'm gonna write it and I'm gonna direct it. And
Yep.
I was that kid, which is
Yeah.
kind of like, but for me, the beauty was getting to college and realizing that I was among my own people, like finding all these other people who were completely like me, like overeager, want to do all these different things, like nerdy, like good in school, but
Yeah.
like, creative and, wrote plays that they made their younger siblings perform. And like I
Right.
was, oh, my people.
So
That's
you
who I was.
and you had gone to Yale undergrad,
I
right?
went to
Yeah,
Yale
so
undergrad.
you were a real smarty.
I was,
Um,
uh,
so I'm curious what your Jamaican parents thought about your creative pursuits and you
so
wanting to pursue that.
I tell this story often that on the drive up to Yale, my dad said, "Don't think we're sending you to Yale to study drama."
Oh,
So I was a psychology major. And
okay.
then after Yale, I had to make a deal with them that I would sign up for the LSATs and start studying for the LSATs and apply to law school if I could pursue an acting career. So I was like
Okay.
doing them simultaneously in New York.
Wow. Okay, that's a
Um,
lot.
I was freelance writing. I'd started a company with a girlfriend. We were managing a singing group. We were like,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing all these different endeavors. And, some of it, like the business aspect, like the managing was like the business aspect because I was afraid of trying to pursue a creative, like, profession where I was the creative. Like, I was kind of like, well, I can
Right.
do the business part. Like, and I went to law school and I thought I can always be an entertainment attorney or I could be a film
Mm-hmm.
producer. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I studied a ton of like law and film and contracts and business of film and like all these things that I thought, okay, I'll just be the business person.
Right.
I don't have to be the person on stage and in front of the camera. But I had a moment in law school the summer between second and third year, which is like the summer of your 2L year, you're usually at a summer associate at a firm. And I was at a really
Okay.
big, prestigious New York law firm, and they wine you and dine you. And part of that wining and
Nice.
dining is they took us to see two Broadway shows. We saw Death of a Salesman with Brian Denny
Mm-hmm.
and Ron Eldard.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Rent. And Rent, we were like
Oh.
second or third row. And like the entire time I was like this. Like, and I look back at like all my other fellow summer associates and they're all kind of like,
Right. You were
and I
enthralled.
thought, and I was like, I belong there. Like I belong on the stage, not like here watching it. And that was
Right.
like my epiphany that like I'd finish law school, I'd take the bar and like just so that I had it, it would be done.
Uh-huh.
Like I would not be happy if I didn't pursue the creative part, like fully commit to it
Yeah.
for a while. It's like, okay, I'll give it 3 years, I'll give it 5 years. And then 20 years, 30 years later, you're like, still, it's like, my God, I'm really an actress, I guess. Like, this is what I
You
do.
really did it. I know. I kind of had, it's funny you talk about when you're watching Rent because I also grew up as a very much a like performing arts kid. Like I was in the school chorus, I played the violin, and then I switched to clarinet.
I played
Yeah,
flute.
yep, I did the school plays. I was also studying ballet and tap
I
for
did that.
most up until like I was about 13 or so.
Yep.
Um, and I actually like I ended up having like my first panic attack while I was in middle school. So I had to quit all of those
Right.
creative
Yep.
pursuits because I just became like terrified of being on stage when previously like I had never
Really?
been, yeah, I had never been scared. Like I actually like didn't even understand what it meant to get nervous. Like
Wow.
when other kids like complained about being scared to go on stage, I was like, what are you talking about? Like I just really loved it.
That's
And
so
then after my
interesting.
first panic attack, I could not get on stage. I was terrified.
That's so
I know. So I
interesting.
had to quit everything. And then by the time I got to high school, I kind of like worked my way back up. I think I did like one more school play. I ended up
Right.
joining the dance team.
Right.
But anytime I go to see like a play or like I saw the Christmas spectacular this past Christmas with my best friend and like watching the Rockettes and it's like it
Right.
feels very emotional for me. I'm like
Totally.
what if that could have been my life? I was meant for other things. I was also really interested in fashion, like once I got to middle school as well. So then my
Yep.
singular focus became like I wanted to work at a fashion magazine. And so,
That's what I did. I interned at Elle
yeah.
Magazine my like
Yeah.
entire time I was in college, summers and Christmas breaks in college, and I spent my junior year abroad in
Yeah.
Paris. And I worked for the French office for the
Oh
year.
my God.
It
So
was like,
cool.
yeah.
I love
So I
that.
wanted to do all those things. Like I was trying to do like everything.
Everything.
And I feel like everything I did has kind of like
Yeah, led
kind of
you,
come together and like works its way into my writing.
which is, I just love that. That's why I always like to ask people like what they were like as kids, because it's cool to see how it speaks to like who you are today and what you're doing.
Yep.
What actresses did you grow up looking up to?
Oh goodness. When I was, you mean like little, like young, young,
Yeah, or like even as you were like
even as
trying
an
to
actor.
pursue
Oh
acting.
goodness, trying to pursue acting. Um I've loved Kate Blanchett for a very long time.
Yeah.
Uh Julianne Moore, Angela Bassett,
Mm-hmm.
um Julia Roberts, Kate Winslet.
Icon.
Oh, God.
Yes. The greats. The greats.
Yeah. Um I'm trying to think. Viola Davis, Nicole Kidman. When I first started acting, like in the 90s, like
Yeah.
well, Viola wasn't acting then, but the rest of them were.
Right. Yeah, for
Gwyneth
sure.
Paltrow, like in the
Yeah.
90s, those people kind of were like the people I'd been watching, and I think of as like, am I just a little older than me? So that some of them
Yeah.
were more, much considerably older than me, and some of them were around my age. So it was enough that
Right.
I felt like that's what I wanted to be doing. Like
Yeah.
that's
And
where
if like they could do it,
like
I can do
right,
it.
like yeah, exactly. If someone my age can put on a performance like that, that's what I want. Which is not, it was different than when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I like watched a lot of TV, and it was like
Right.
Kim Fields, like who played like 2D on The Facts of Life, like things like that. But
Oh,
like
yes.
I thought when I wanted to really be an actor, and I started like I was in class in New York and like studying like the people who were doing work that I was riveted by. Like those are the women, but like the men
Yeah.
even. I've always loved Matt Damon's work,
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt, Denzel. Um, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of like what male actors are like Gary Oldman, Rick
Mm-hmm.
Fiennes. Like there's so
Yeah,
many
yeah,
that
yeah.
you.
Yeah, of course. Um, so As you started work, like booking jobs as an actress, like how did that feel for you?
In the beginning, it was totally like magic, like surreal. Like I couldn't believe, like I was living my dream. I remember having this,
Yeah.
I'd, I was shooting Delivers from Eva. It was within,
Mm-hmm.
when did we shoot Delivers from Eva? Within a year and a half of me moving to LA. So right after law school.
Okay.
And I remember coming out of the set. We were shooting one of those scenes in the beauty parlor. And we came out, we were shooting it over like in Altadena, like the area that
Yeah.
pretty much
Yes.
burned.
Yep.
Um, we were shooting in Altadena. We came out of the beauty parlor. It was magic hour in between shots. We came out and we were like looking at craft services to get snacks. But the when you come out of Altadena, like one side, if you're facing south, you're facing like the freeway, like the 210 or whatever it is, or the 10. Anyway, you're facing the freeway and it's kind of flat. But if you're facing north, it's a mountain range. And
Mm.
the sun was setting. The sky was like pink. The mountains were there. It was December and like 70 degrees. And I had this moment like, oh my God. It's like, I live in LA and I make movies. Like, this is crazy. I'll never forget. Like, it's like pinching myself. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Right. You were
I'm
really
like,
in the moment.
in the moment, like, I was like, this is unbelievable. I cannot believe I'm living this dream. Like, yeah, that was one of the moments that felt like I've like pinched myself.
Yeah,
Like, that's insane. And then I've had a lot of other surreal experiences and also working with like real big celebrities and whatever. And
of course.
you
But it's
get
also a
moments.
really challenging industry.
It's a very challenging industry. There are a lot of moments that are like, this is surreal, I can't, whatever. And then also work-wise, you have to kind of like just lock in. Like there was a, I shot, I did this movie called Hotel for Dogs with
Mm-hmm.
Don Cheadle, and I got it as an offer. I didn't audition for it, and
Amazing.
I was playing Don Cheadle's wife. He'd just been nominated, I guess, for an Oscar for Hotel Rwanda. He was just coming off of
Oh,
that.
right. Mm-hmm.
Did he win? He didn't win for Hotel Rwanda, right? I don't think he won, but he did an extraordinary performance. Anyway, so it was shortly after that, and shortly after Ocean's 11. Um, and God, I love his work. Like I just loved watching
Yeah.
him. And I was going to the set. I didn't meet him until we got on the set, and I had this moment of like, oh my God, I'm gonna play his wife. Like,
Right.
what am I doing? Like, how did they choose me? And then I was like, I had this second, like, get yourself together. You would not have
Mm-hmm.
this part if you couldn't handle it. And like,
Right.
you need to go on that stage, make it go on that, the sound stage, make this
Yep.
space yours, figure out what you
Yep.
need, whatever. And once you start doing that, and you can tell, and the prop person's like, what do I need? I was like, I need a different kind of bag. You need to put something in the bag to give me. It was like a morning we were getting ready for work, and I was like, I need to like give me some journals, something which call it to put in my bag. I hate when they give me a bag and it's empty, and I'm like super.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I was like, do you want a coffee or do you want tea? Do you want like something in your cup mug? Like all these things that I was like placing it, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I've got my space. I'm in control. Let's do this. But I thought I could easily just lock myself in my trailer and been like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah. Did you struggle with that? Like a little bit of like imposter syndrome,
no, I
some
mean,
may say?
I remember having a second before that specific shoot. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever had it before or since.
Okay.
There's something about acting that's so different for me than writing, and that I feel like I know what I'm doing. Auditions is something completely different because you don't know what they're looking for. You can do what you plan to do, and they can be like, "That was amazing," or they can be like, "Okay, thanks," and
Right.
you know what I mean. And you're like, "I thought I did a really great job, but okay."
Right. Yeah.
Like, um, but once you have the part, you
Yeah.
have to let all that stuff goes. I do my
Mm-hmm.
homework. I create whatever I need to create for that character. Sometimes I write like a 4-page bio. I do my
Oh.
research. I'll create a
Okay.
playlist. I'll create like a scrapbook, like of images.
Yeah.
If it's the farther the further away the character is from me, the more work like that I'll do.
Cool.
But if it's closer to me, I don't have to do as much. I'm like, okay, where'd you go to school? What did you do? Who are her parents? Who did she, but like, how did she meet this person? Like everyone, and then,
Mm-hmm.
and then as an actor, there's all these little things you work on anyway, like where you're coming from when you step in the room, how you feel about everyone,
Mm-hmm.
your space, and all these little prep things, what you want out of the scene, whatever. But just like personal biography of those characters, like when it's something far from me, I do all the research. 'Cause I feel like I've done so much. I do not question my
Ability.
performance
Yeah.
ever. And I feel like if I'm not giving the director something
Mhm.
they need, they will tell me and I can make the adjustment. I
Right.
don't ever
Right.
sweat it once I'm on a stage, on a sound stage.
So, you were acting for many years,
Yeah.
but was this little birdie still in your ear that you needed to write a book?
I was writing um, simultaneously, and
Hmm.
it was something I'd always done for pleasure. As I said, I wrote the first one like when I was a teenager, and I wrote one when I was in law school. I started, and then I kind of stopped after 200 pages and let it fall. Right after I had my first son, I worked on a book for about 6 years, and I couldn't get quite to where I wanted it to be, and I put it aside. And then two
Hmm.
years later, I got the idea for the idea of you, and I knew it was something that could be a big book and that could sell, but I
Hmm.
didn't want to put in 6 years again and find out like it wasn't quite right and I wasn't going to be able to sell it. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to write this as quickly as possible. I finished it, a draft, a decent draft in 15 months. I workshopped it with my writers group. I spent about 3 months doing their notes. The first agent I sent it to loved it, signed me. He spent a couple of months doing notes. I spent 2 months incorporating his notes, and he sold it in 2.5 weeks. It happened so
I
fast.
just got the
It
chills. Like, that's
never,
incredible.
it never happens that quickly. But I used to say that like it was my stress release
Mm,
from acting because I could do it at any point in time. I wasn't waiting for someone to give me permission to do it.
right.
I could like go anywhere I wanted in my mind. I can play all the characters in my mind that they were Hollywood was not allowing me to play, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I could write for all those characters. I could create the world. I could say what I wanted them to say and make them do what I wanted them to do. And at the end of the day, I could have something to show for it. Like you can work for hours and hours on an audition, and you can work with a coach. You can run it with your partner. You do your hair, your makeup, you go to the set. I mean, you go to the lot, whatever, or the casting
Yeah.
director's office. You put in a lot of work, and then it's like, okay, thank you, and that's it. And you have nothing to show for all those hours.
It's very out of, there's so much uncertainty. You have no
There's so much
control.
uncertainty. But like, I open my laptop, and if I sit down, if I were to put in like 8 hours on my laptop straight, I've got something to show at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
I created this out of nothing, out of thin air.
Wow.
I created this story and these characters and these people and this scene. And it was so freeing. And it was I mean, I think artists just need to find like a vessel, like they need a way to create
Yeah, for sure.
in any way. So if it's not, if you're not being fulfilled as an actor, you have something else. I mean, and also like the entire time I was acting, I was also in class, and so I'm doing scenes, which can be very rewarding if you've got great scene partners and you do an incredible scene in class, and it feels like it feeds you in that way. But in between classes and in between work, like writing was my way to like release my stress and get my creativity out.
Yeah. Um, you mentioned that you're able to write maybe characters or scenes that you felt you weren't given. Is there sort of like a dream role that you still have for yourself?
Um, gosh,
Dream part.
I don't know. It's so funny you say
Hmm.
that because now that I write, I can like every character I kind of think like, oh, I could have played this. This would have been fun. This would have been fun. But I don't have
Right.
one thing that's like this is a dream.
Fair. Yeah.
For me,
So,
it's probably dream people to work with and
oh,
and given a meaty character.
yeah.
Like something that's not just like wallpaper or fluff or just like stand there and be the pretty girl. Although I really do that anymore. At my age,
Stop.
I'm not.
Oh,
That was in
stop.
my 20s, 30s. No one's asking me to stand there, and now it's just like be the mom. But I'd love to do something. Yeah, like there are projects that I watch and I think, oh God, I wish I was a part of that. Like
Like
they look
what?
like they're
Tell
having so,
me.
like The Pit.
Oh, I haven't
They look like they're
watched
having
it, but I've
so
heard it's
much fun.
incredible.
It's so well done. They look like they're enjoying themselves,
Hmm.
or just it's a kind of work you'd want to do. And if the cast is like they're on it, the direction is on it. It moves so quickly, and you're keeping up. And it's tricky because it's all one day. The entire season is
I
one.
know. I was shocked when I heard that. Like
Yeah,
each episode is like 1 hour
an
of the
hour, they
day.
say. So you're always super aware of like, where am I coming from? What have I just done?
Yeah.
Where am I going? You know what I mean? Like, and you've got to keep that thread for the entire, all the months that they're shooting, which is kind of,
Right.
that just sounds like so much fun.
So crazy.
What else have I seen recently that I thought looks like they're having a great time? Oh my God, the studio. Did you watch the studio
Oh,
at
I have
all?
not. I honestly, I'm not a huge like TV and movie person. I read a lot. I listen to podcasts. Like that's
Okay.
kind of listen to
So
music.
the season finale of the studio, it's satire, it's a studio, it's Seth
Yeah,
Rogen.
right.
And
I
they're
know he
in
won a bunch of awards.
won a bunch of awards. They're in Las Vegas for the season finale. It's a two-part season finale. Zoe Kravitz is playing herself, and there's a party, and I think it's shrooms they're all doing, but they're all like high out of their minds. I mean, it is hilarious. Like one of the characters like licking the walls, and you just know that they're having so much fun every single take.
Right.
It's like they are enjoying themselves way too much to get a paycheck. Like those are the kind of
Right. To call
jobs you
this
think
work.
you don't have to pay me. Yeah, like I'm just having like the best time. Like when I see things like that, like
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
All right, back to your books. Okay, so your first book, which was The Idea of You,
Well,
has sold over 1 million copies.
it's about a million. Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, what an incredible accomplishment. And it was a bit of like a slow
It's a
burn,
slow burn, totally. Like
which
it
is the
was.
best way to be, I think.
I think so too, because you don't want, I mean, I think anytime you sell a million copies, that's great.
Well, right, of
But
course.
yes. Um,
We're not knocking that.
but I do think there's something special about it being word of mouth and people being like, you have to read this book and like giving it to their friends, giving it to their mothers or sisters or aunts or whatever. Um, and being and it growing, like it's snowballing and like
Yeah,
and that's really special because that's not anything like you can pay for with publicity or marketing or advertising.
totally.
That's just the work and people connecting with the story and the characters and the material, and that's really, really special.
Right. And then it got made into like a monster hit
And then
movie,
it became a
which
monster hit.
I love. I own it. I've watched it multiple times. Like Anne and Nicholas are so hot in it.
They're
And
very they've got incredible chemistry.
incredible chemistry. And I know you were not involved in the
Right.
making of the movie, but your friend Gabrielle Union was. So,
Gabrielle. Yeah,
um, she was a lead producer on the movie,
she's a
right?
lead producer. One of the producers on it. I'm a producer on it as well,
Okay, got it.
but Gab was involved more than I was. I don't know if she was on the set when they were actually shooting,
Hmm.
but she was like instrumental in introducing me to the original producer and in getting Annie on board and
Right.
it
It must have
all.
been nice to know that like your project is in the hands of someone you trust.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean that's what you hope for. Like you hope for it to be like this
Right.
incredible experience and working with people you like and who
Yeah.
respect what you've done. So
So I had recently read the book. I tagged you in the story. That was all very strategic on my part because I knew I wanted
yes.
to interview you
Uh,
for your new book. So I was like, I actually should really read the book because I love the movie so much. And, yeah, I was like I really liked the changes that they made for the movie, but the book is just like so much meatier. Like you just get so much more out of like
yeah,
the connection,
yeah,
and it feels like it goes on a lot longer, of course, because the movie's like whatever it
yeah,
is, 90 minutes or
yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I mean I blew through that book so quickly.
It's it's a special story for me. It was a really incredible experience writing it, and I was very attached to those characters. I did not want it to end like the process of writing. I could have
Right.
lived in their world for another 10 years. I just really loved creating for them and writing for both of them. They were so real and alive and special to me. Like it,
Yeah. And a lot
yeah,
of people want a sequel.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. And your book that's coming out in July, Crash Into Me, is not a sequel.
It's not a sequel. No.
Talk to me a little bit about what's your elevator pitch for
My
Crash Into
elevator
Me?
pitch is Crash Into Me is a story about Cecilia Chen, who's a
Yes.
Jamaican Chinese artist who was raised in the States but fled to Paris about 20 years before the story begins. She's
Hmm.
married to a French filmmaker and she's got two kids. And her husband gets a job shooting a trilogy, like three huge movies in Hollywood, and the entire family has to pick up and move to LA. And so it's kind of a reverse culture shock. She's moving back to
Hmm.
America after 20 years of living in Europe. And they move to this very wealthy enclave on the west side of LA where she is very much the outsider.
Hmm.
Very early on in the story, she runs into, literally in a car accident,
Yep.
someone from her past, and they embark on this very relationship that becomes very intense and complex and inevitably threatens to upend Cecilia's entire life.
Yes.
And it's another woman. So it's a story that kind of has all these layers about class and wealth and privilege and fame and identity and culture and otherness and sexuality. Um, I'm trying to think, desire
Hmm.
and betrayal. There you
Yes.
go. And power. There you go. Those are all the things.
What
All-
what inspired you to write this story? I've been reading it. I'm not
right,
completely finished, but I'll tell you on Monday morning, like I could not get out of bed because I couldn't put it down. I like stayed in bed until maybe 11 a.m.
right,
just reading it. And normally I would get out of bed by like 8,
right,
9.
right. I love hearing that. Um, I wanted to tell there's so many different things that happened. First of all, in 2016, I was in a car accident very similar to the one that Cecilia
Mm,
Duke meet in. I was in Los Angeles, like exactly where that car accident happens, and I
hmm.
was waiting to get into a park there in front of my local coffee shop, and a woman
Hmm.
was standing there about to get in, and then I was at a full stop, and this woman rammed into me from behind, and my car like jerked forward and like to the side, and basically
Pinned.
pinned up her car door against the wheel of
Yeah,
her car, like taking it off entirely. I came this close to killing her. Like, she was standing
right.
there, and then I mean, like
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know how I did not kill her. I don't know how she stepped out of the way just in time. And it was this moment when the three of us, or three women in the accident, and we were all comforting each other and making sure everyone was okay. And like, um, the woman that hit me originally, her husband had come to the scene and he was observing us and he started to laugh and he said, "Women are so different than men because this had been men. We would be fighting, we'd be arguing, we'd be like blaming. And you guys are just like, you're literally hugging each other. Like, it's okay. You're going to be fine. We're fine. We're so lucky. We're fine."
Right.
And as he said that, I was thinking, he's so right. And once I get over this, like the PTSD of this accident,
Hmm.
I'm going to be able to like think about how this is going to work into a story because
Right.
I felt like it was such an interesting moment of lives coming together so randomly and violently, and they could go anywhere, like the relationships could
Yeah.
go anywhere. And what happens when you're in this situation like that? Like everything is heightened, like your nerves are on edge, you're shaking. It's
Yeah.
it's terrifying. And we were all fine, but I thought, God, this would be a great start to a story. But I was like, whose story am I going to tell? And the book that I'd worked on prior to the idea of you that I did not sell was Cecilia Chen's story, but it was her as a younger girl, like she's like in her 20s, and she meets this guy who changes her perspective on everything, and that's the
Hmm.
Laurie character.
Yes.
And so I thought, what if I were to bring them back?
Mm. Crash Into Me is unlike the idea of you in that like it's not a strict romance, like
No,
as you
it's
said,
not.
like
Yeah,
you write quite a bit about like the politics of being Black in America and like
yeah,
raising mixed children in
yep,
America,
yep,
and making sure that they know that they are Black,
yeah.
like navigating class. Why was that all important to you?
Um, because I wasn't seeing it in
Hmm.
literature through my perspective. Like, yes, there are tons of books of like a lot of, not say tons, but a lot of great books about African Americans' experience or immigrant experiences in America, and immigrants of color and African immigrants in like there's Americana, there's
Right. But to bring
but
it into like a story like this
right.
feels a
But
bit
I
more
wanted
rare.
it, yeah, a story like this that was kind of sexy and
Mm-hmm.
nuanced and different, that had
Mm-hmm.
plays of like power and fame and celebrity and Hollywood, but also Hollywood through a perspective we almost never see. Like
Yeah.
we don't see those stories. And we
Yeah.
don't see like you see the fame and glamour of like LA, but we don't see it from the outsider. I mean, this kind of outsider. You might be
Right.
like, oh, the girl who just came off the farm and becomes a big, like, Marilyn Monroe, whatever. She becomes a
Right.
big star, but it's like it's different. It's a different perspective, and you're juggling more than just the the fame and the celebrity thing, but you are juggling race in an environment where you stand out, like you're highly visible and you're also invisible. And I
Right.
feel like a lot of the time I lived in LA, I
I
was in
felt
that
that.
position. Like I
Yeah.
felt like I was straddling this very weird line, like not fully fitting in one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really having to be like intentional about finding community and finding my people and making communities and because it wasn't like it was just going to happen upon anything, like I really had
Yeah.
to because LA is so stratified. It's so spread out. It's huge. It's huge.
Totally.
People say it's a city, but it really feels like a collection of suburbs. And there's no center, like there's no like
Yeah.
New York, you've got like downtown.
And you're quite isolated because it's like
You
you're in your
can very
car all
isolated.
the time, going
You're
from
in your
place to
car.
place. So you have
Exactly.
to, I imagine you have to be really intentional about how you create community for yourself.
Exactly, exactly. And so I'd have like my actor friends, and then I had like
Mm-hmm.
my mommy friends, and
Mm-hmm.
and they're all living
Right.
in different places, and it was hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard, and that was, I was there for like 2 decades, and it took a while to feel like, okay, this kind of feels like home,
Yeah.
I mean, it helped once I had kids, and they were kind of like locked into their friendships because to them it's very much home, like,
Right.
and so. I wanted to create a place an environment that felt like home. And
Yeah.
our home was a home,
Yeah.
But we had a great and excellent community with their school and friends through school and friends' parents and our parents.
Yeah.
I mean, our friends who we met there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but, we weren't into that school until 10 years after I lived in LA.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I think I've never lived in LA, but I think even when I do go there as a visitor, that it feels quite lonely.
yeah, it can for sure.
Why did you decide to make it a same-sex love affair and Crash Into Me?
I don't know. It wasn't supposed to be a love affair.
Mm,
It was supposed to be this like kind of intense friendship and maybe um manipulative and
yeah,
obsessive
right,
and maybe kind of like single white female-ish.
right.
But I just started writing them and I was writing for one character. I was really attracted to the other character and I thought,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna see where this goes.
right,
Sometimes you have to do that. Like you just kind of follow the trail and it's like, and the more
right.
I find anyway, the more I get to know my characters, the more I fall in love with them. So it was
Yeah,
interesting to get to know Anouk through Cecilia's eyes and this
yeah.
perspective because that wasn't necessarily where I was going to go. It wasn't
Okay,
my intention.
right.
Um, I didn't set out to write that, but then I realized that's what I was writing, so I better do some more research. Like, but it really was. I really kind of just I fell for this character and I fell for um that link they had, that like their relationship, their kind of like push pull and like the tension between them, and I wanted to
Totally. So much
explore
tension.
it. Yeah, and sometimes it's like you throw a bunch of people together in one room and you see what happens, and
Yeah.
sometimes as a writer you just have to kind of trust that that's going to happen. As an actor, we when you're doing improv, there's this rule called yes and, which
Mm,
means
yeah.
like someone gives you something, it's like, like, oh my God, like, did you hear like Mike died today, and your response is to be like, you can't be like, no, he didn't. You can't like just kill the scene. Like, yes, and did you know that he
Yeah.
left behind
Right.
7 kids? You know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's yes
Right. And you have
and
to keep the story going.
keep the story going. Otherwise, it's just like dead in the water.
Hmm.
So sometimes you're writing for your characters, and it just has to be like yes and like you're hearing their voices, and you're like, yeah, I'm going with that. She's attracted to her. Yes, she is, and now
Right.
it's going to be a mutual thing. Like you know what I mean? Like I some there are some writers who they call them plotters and pantsers, and some like really plot really tightly and like have their outline and like stick to it, and others like
Yeah.
kind of like fly by the seat of their pants. And I plot a little bit, but then if my
Right.
pants take me somewhere, I'm like, okay, we're shifting this whole. We're like, I got
Right.
my characters know where they're going.
Yeah. Sometimes it's cool because it kind of feels like you're not really the one calling the shots, the
You're
characters
not.
are, and you're
Yeah,
just kind of like it's like whatever comes at
right.
your
I'm like just like this
fingertips.
conduit, whatever. Like I'm just here to
Yeah.
like, yeah, write down what you're thinking, guys. Like just keep telling me, and we'll between the three of us, we'll make it happen. Like,
Totally. Um, I know I was really like gagged by the part of the book where Cecilia's at Anouk's house and her son comes up
yeah,
to her and is like, "Oh, are you the new blah blah blah?"
yeah,
Like, her new like play
yeah,
thing. Blah,
yeah.
blah. I was like, "Oh, damn, the son knows."
Like he's on to her. Yeah,
Onto her. With both of these books, like you really center women 40 and over and like their desire, their pleasure. Has
yeah.
that been important for you to portray?
Absolutely. As I say, like when I started writing, part of writing the idea of you or wanting to write the idea of you was, turning 40 in LA, in Hollywood. LA itself is a
Right.
problematic place to turn 40, but as an actor, turning 40 in the business and seeing the types of roles I was being considered for like shift so
Mm,
drastically. It used to be like I mean, I started a long time ago, so it was the ingenue, the kid, the teenager, whatever. And then it's like the co-ed and like the pretty girl, da da da, and
mm-hmm.
the wife, the young mom, and suddenly every description was like 40. It was once beautiful, but it's seen better days, or like
Oh my
40
God. I'm like, I just turned 40.
used to be attractive, but now is tired. Like every description, like obviously written by men, and everything was
Of
like
course.
saying like, oh, you're past your prime. Like you are no longer sexually viable. You are no longer the object of our desire as a viewer of this project. You know what I mean? Like you're look at
Yeah.
your
I,
face.
I know. I'm just like, huh?
You get enough auditions like that, you want to fight back. Either like
I'm
you
sh-
strap on a gun and you like you're like I'm gonna like hit the streets and be like start up like a I don't know world like women
a
like
revolt, a
we're gonna women
revolt.
revolt, or you write a book and you're like you know what
Right.
F
You're like,
you.
fuck
We are
you.
still
Yeah.
sexual at 40. We are still thinking about sex. We are still having sex. We are still sexy.
Yes.
And I wanted to put that out there. Like I don't yeah, I don't own a gun. So I'm like, this is
So you're like, this is how I'm
my
fighting back.
gun. This is writing. I'm just going to like that's my how I fight back. And then so many women were so happy to see that and to see this perspective that centered them and their sexuality, their individuality, their identity, them as a complex being, and
Yeah,
layered, and not just a mom or not just a
completely.
wife or you know what I mean, like not put in a box, but like these fully formed beings that did and wanted multiple things and contained multitudes. And so I loved that and I wanted to continue to write that. And so I wanted to do that for Cecilia. I wanted it for Nuke, for all the women that come through the storylines. There's no
Hmm.
one's just like, I didn't want to make it, even the characters that are more superficial, I didn't want to make them two-dimensional. There's always
Yeah,
something like, oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that about you, Minnie or Cressida or whatever. All the other characters like had something else slightly like,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, something to them. And was it important for you to, because your books are quite sexy, like there's detailed
Yeah.
sex scenes.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know in the sort of like romance genre, some books are steamier than
Right.
others.
Right.
Some kind of just, yeah, might skip over
Um,
that. So why did you feel like you wanted to write out the
I think it's just
details?
like it's just how I've always written. Like I
Yeah.
started by writing like fan fiction as a teenager, and they were
Were
saying,
you?
"Oh my God, totally, yeah."
Okay.
And then
Okay.
and so I've always written. I've always been
I love that.
comfortable and confident in writing sex scenes, and like it didn't
Yeah.
have to be about the sex, but I knew how to weave it into the story.
Right.
For me, very much so in the idea of you, and there's less sex in this book because there's
Yes.
more going on. But in
Yeah.
the idea of you, I didn't want them naked on the page unless they were going to be. I didn't want them physically naked unless they're going to be emotionally naked. So every
Hmm.
time they're naked, they're revealing something new to each other
Yes, for
or
sure.
something new to the reader. And so it's there's nothing gratuitous. Every sex scene was bringing pushing the story forward and it was
Yeah.
revealing something new. And the same with Crash Into Me. Like
Yeah.
I thought, there's certain kind of books where you can kind of when people authors choose to glance over it and it does it a disservice. And there's some books that like they don't need it. Like that's they glance over and it's fine because it continues with the story. But I feel like if you are giving me every detail of a relationship, especially a new relationship, and it's a loving relationship and it's a central relationship, I feel like when you close the doors, it's a bit of a cop out. Like I mean, because it's like, why are you going to tell me all the details of I don't know, his eye, the color of his eyes, his lashes, whatever, how it felt when he did this.
Right.
And then you don't, because we reveal, ideally, if your relationship is moving forward, we reveal so much of ourselves having sex, like
Yeah.
so much to our partners. And to pretend that's not happening there feels false to me. And
Yeah, I totally agree. And also I think, obviously I'm sure you've watched Heated Rivalry because that,
yeah,
became such a huge thing and there's so many people. I just thought the conversations
the
around like
conversation's been incredible. Yeah,
around the sex in that show and some people feeling like it was gratuitous or whatnot or that the show didn't have a plot and it's like no,
right.
the relationship is the plot
Relationships,
and the
right. Yeah.
sex is integral to
Story. Yeah.
the
Moving them forward
story.
and then seeing them reveal themselves emotionally, like how they become more emotionally accessible to each other and what it takes to get them from, random hookups to episode 6 in the cottage. Like
Yeah.
what, like that was such a, you're crying in that episode.
I know.
Oh my God, finally.
I know. I'm obsessed. I was obsessed. Still am. And
Yes.
around that time, there was an article that came out in the Atlantic that said that 40% of Gen Z like participants in this survey they did said that they turn a movie off once they hit a sex scene. And
40%?
40 over 40%.
Wow.
It was kind of about how like audiences
Respond.
don't like sex anymore.
Right.
Gen Z doesn't like sex, and it also said that the amount of sex scenes in the 250 highest grossing films had fallen by 40% since 2020,
Wow.
while violence, drugs, and profanity have kind of remained the same.
That's really sad.
Right?
That's really sad. It makes me happy that I moved to France. Sex is not going anywhere in France, and the violence
Sure
and
is
drugs are
not. I
staying
know,
low. Like,
you
that's
know,
really sad because I
I
mean,
know. It's like an integral part
it's an integral part of
being a
connecting,
human and like,
being
yes,
human,
connected.
right? And pretend like we don't need violence and drugs,
No, we don't.
like, but we do need sex to continue to
Yeah.
continue our existence.
It's
Like,
so strange to me. But since you brought up Paris, I'm like I've been living between New York and London for the last 4 years now, but even I lived in New York City for 10 years or so and I primarily always dated Europeans and I just
right,
think like Europeans in general, I think the way that they are socialized around sex and interpersonal relationships is just so much different than in America, which
yeah,
is still very much like stuck in purity
yeah.
culture at
Which
the
is
end of the
funny because
day.
yeah, I think it was just very puritanical, but I always think that came from England, but it it didn't because I don't feel like the English are as
No, I know. I
placed in that
agree.
as we are. We're so stiff. I mean, that was like when I was little, I was like, I just want to be like a French woman. Like I want to view sex like a French woman. Like I want
Right.
to. So I'm getting closer and closer. Um, I will
I'm
tell
sure
you
your
some.
husband loves that.
I'm going to tell you, yes, but I'm going to tell you some of the things that surprised me. No one told me, and I think it's where it comes from. And I knew there was this openness involving sex and sexuality because I'd lived here as a student. And you see the
Hmm.
commercials, you see the ads, you see posters.
Right.
You go to the beach, there are breasts everywhere. There are women,
Right.
people in underwear. It's fine. But like, I'm really surprised by even going to the doctor's office. Like, they don't give you like a robe or anything. It's like
Oh,
you're in the office. There's an examining bed there. You sit at the desk. You do your intake. They're asking you questions. Da, 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 blah 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 blah. And then they'll say, okay, can you take off all your clothes and you can take off your bra, blah blah blah, lie down, what you call it. They don't leave the room for you to change. They don't give you something to cover up. They don't like,
wait, that's
isn't
crazy.
it? And you're like, okay,
Right.
this is weird, sir.
Yeah, because you're just so conditioned for,
We're
yeah.
so conditioned to like
And
hide
you're
everything.
like, yeah,
Like,
you're like hiding literally as the doctor's like
oh my
coming
gosh.
in.
In America, like my OBGYN in America, who I've had for several years, she delivered both my kids. She's a friend of the family. I love her to death. But
Hmm.
still, I'm putting on like a paper top and a paper skirt. I'm like talking to her like, it's just weird. And here I'm like, okay, so this is France. And but I'm like, they get that from birth. Like I mean, they're in their doctor's office. It's like nudity is not anything to be ashamed of. Like,
It's like we
and
all have
we
bodies.
all have bodies. But like, it's like that wherever you go. Like in the massage, I was surprised. Like even the massage,
Right.
whatchamacallit, your bikini wax, they're not very prudish. What else? Let's see. Hold on. Massage, bikini wax. The osteopath. Like if you go
Oh,
to
okay.
like or acupuncture, like all of that, you're just like, just take this off and blah blah blah, and just lie here. We're fine. You can take off your bra, blah blah blah. Whatever it is. Oh, oh my God, the mammogram, even when you're walking from the mammogram, if you're going to do the ultrasound and the machine, that's
Yeah,
you're walking from there to the next. There's like nothing. Okay, am I just okay? I'm just going to walk down the hall here. This is like,
I'm
or you're walking
shook.
from the desk. I know. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it does us a huge disservice.
it does. It really does. And I think any American, I tell that to, they're like, oh my God. But it's like if you grew up with that and you don't know any differently, it's like,
Right.
so it's like it's
Then,
the doctor. That's their job.
yeah, is to see you
Yeah.
naked or see your body. I don't have much hope for America to get out of this puritanical era that we're in, especially when they're like trying to put Bibles back in schools.
No, yeah, no.
But luckily we have writers like you. So
Yeah. Well, thank you. We do
um,
until we don't. Until we don't
I know.
ban us all.
I know. I'm like, hopefully your books
Yeah.
don't get banned.
Yeah.
Um, Going back to though, like the mothers as sexual beings, because I even just saw yesterday Olivia Wilde was just on Call Her Daddy,
Mm.
and there was a
Yeah.
clip going around where she was talking about like
Yeah.
motherhood means you are no longer a sexual being. Like you are no longer capable of desire. You don't deserve it. You've served your purpose. And now it's like if I, see you without your baby and you're
Yeah.
enjoying yourself without your
God
baby,
forbid. Right.
like this is
Exactly.
a
Like a bad mom.
betrayal. This
Yeah.
is a betrayal of your obligation.
Yeah. I just watched McCall. I saw that yesterday and I put it in my stories um on Instagram. It I love that
Maybe
she
that's where
said
I
that.
first saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 100% accurate. I don't know why. And I think other women are also part of the problem.
Oh, for sure.
A huge part of the problem with her anyway. I mean,
Yes. But for so many women,
yeah, but she was referring to her relationship with Harry Styles and like the backlash and all of
yeah,
that. And a lot of that was coming from fandom and other women.
totally.
Um, and
Yeah, I
and
think we
because
see it happen to celebrity women all the time.
all
Even
the
like
time, all the
Kylie
time.
Jenner is dating Timothy Chalamet, so
Right,
she's in New York with him a lot. And when
right,
you see the
yep.
comments, everyone's like, "Where?
Where
Why
your
aren't
kids?
you with your children?" But
Yeah,
if you go to Travis Scott's Instagram, do you see anyone asking him why isn't he with his
where your
children?
kids? Yeah. No, we get it all the time. And I think it's important. I think you can only be a better parent when you are fully fulfilled in yourself. You know
Right.
what I mean? And you're feeding all the different parts of you that need to be fed.
Yeah.
Because if you're locking yourself in your home with your kids 24/7, you will become very isolated.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know what it felt like those first few months. I didn't have any help, and it was just me and my newborn. And God, I wanted a baby, so I wanted a baby from the time I was like 11 years old. Like I couldn't wait to have babies.
Mm,
And I was like the neighborhood babysitter. I love
right.
kids. I worked at daycare center. Like I worked at like
Yeah.
I loved babies. And it's like, you give like like 1 week in when you're like, I just need a break. I need a break.
You're like,
I'm
what
gonna
do I do?
break. Like when it's at your own, like you will go crazy. You have to get away. You have to find other ways to feed yourself and not, I mean, obviously not talking about just food, but
Yeah.
like to find joy, to stimulate other parts of your brain, to make you feel human again, to make you feel like a woman again, to feel like a friend or a daughter or a sister again, and not just mom, mom, mom. Because I really think it does you a disservice and consequently your child a
And you're
disservice. Like if you're
100,
not happy, your kid's gonna sense that.
100%. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think you as a mother also like set an example for your children of like what is important and how to
Right,
have a full life. Like,
right,
you
exactly.
know, when I think about, oh, my childhood, like, yeah, my parents were immigrants. My parents worked, my parents came here with nothing. They worked so hard. And like, that's all I really saw of my
Yep,
parents is my
yep,
mom worked multiple jobs. Like, she was either working or she was exhausted or, and so that ended up being the example for me of like, okay, I don't want to live like that
right, right. Yeah, yeah, that's
because
totally.
it's hard. And to think like, for most of my like my adolescence, it's like you weren't enjoying yourself because you were in survival mode.
Right. And that's awful,
Yeah.
awful.
It's really hard to contend with. Um, so yeah, I love that your writing, really shows how multidimensional women can be, especially as mothers, even as I don't have children, but
Right.
I still think there's obviously so much value in your stories and yeah,
Thank
and
you.
everything that you're writing.
Thank you. And to be clear, I love being a mother. Like if I had to do it
Yeah.
all over again, I would do it all over
Of
again.
course, of
Like,
course.
um, but I get things from acting and things from writing that I don't get from my kids. I
Of
get things from my
course.
husband I don't get from my kids. I get
Right.
things just walking outside and exploring and traveling and reading that I don't get from my kid, let's say. Like,
Yeah.
and I need to have all of those different parts fulfilled to be the best me that I can be and to show
Yeah.
up for them in the best way that I can,
Yeah.
for
Can we
sure.
talk about your writing process and like
Yes.
rituals that you have?
So funny because I'm not writing right this moment because I'm doing all of this, so I feel like I've
Right.
it. Um,
But as
I
someone who has written two
right.
books
So
and
when I'm writing and I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone. I
yeah.
try to write every day.
Hmm.
I did an interview with Curtis Sittenfeld once, and I love her work, love, love, love. And she says she tries to touch the manuscript every day. So even if you're
Hmm.
going to like change whatever, so you're opening it up, you're looking at it, so you don't take off a week or a month. Like, okay, where was I? You know what I mean? Like, not that I would ever take off a month, but you don't even take off a week to say where was I?
Yeah.
So within every 24 hours, it's like your Duolingo. I just do Duolingo.
Right. You got to do like 5 minutes every day.
5 minutes at least. When I'm in the zone, like really, really in the zone, I will try to do like 4 hours at my desk,
Hmm.
late morning to early afternoon. Just me, the computer, and endless cups of tea.
Yeah, I
Um,
was about to say, do you have tea?
I'm a
Can you listen to
tea.
music? Like,
It changes. I'm a tea
yeah.
person. With the crash into me, I didn't listen to as much music. The idea of
Hmm.
you, I listened to a lot, but I still created playlists for both of them because I feel
Okay,
like
cool.
it helps me set the scene,
Yeah.
get a setting, especially with time. Like Crash Into Me, it was their flashbacks into 1996, and so I
Yeah.
needed that. Um, with the idea of you, she was dating a guy who was much younger, so I wanted to end in a band. I wanted to I had a lot of music from that year. It takes place 2014, 2015. But I
Right.
also wanted music that he would listen to that she wouldn't necessarily. And
Okay.
like and she had music that she would listen to. Like I had a lot of Ed Sheeran, which I thought was kind of like her vibe. There's some Taylor Swift. She went through a period that she was really
Of course.
into Taylor Swift. And I can't think of the name of it. It's like Harlem something. But anyway, it was like more cutting edge bands that
Hmm.
Robinne Lee, 40 something mom, was not listening to. But I thought, oh, this Hayes would listen to this. Like if I was a 20-year-old
Right.
guy and I'm in a band, like what am I like the 1975, like things
Five.
like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so I had a, a lot of that and so I like to do that when I'm it depends, but depends on the story.
Yeah.
When I'm writing sex scenes or love scenes, whatever, I will tend to find a song that suits that one and play
Yeah.
it over and over and over again to
I
get
love that.
in the mood, but then
Yep.
also to feel like I have a soundtrack for that scene.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that
and so
because I
and
really love music. So I love the idea of like
right, yeah,
a book having a soundtrack.
yeah. So totally, like that first scene, the first time they hook up, and the idea of you, it's in the hotel room in New York at the
Hmm.
Crosby Street Hotel, and
Yes.
it was Sam Smith's
Oh.
um, uh, "Stay with Me."
Oh,
That's
yes, 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 yes.
I
Such
think
a
I
good
listened to
song.
that like 450. When there's a hot scene involving a dining table, that
Hmm.
was Beyonce's Haunted.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Like
Such
that
good
was like
one.
Beyonce 400 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I love that.
Haunted. So it really it depends. It
Yeah.
depends. Like I have a love scene with Cecilia and Francois, and there was a really specific song that I listened to over and over again because it was kind of like a I don't want to give away too much. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't
That's
don't
okay.
give away too much. But anyway, so it can be very specific. The other thing I like to do is, especially earlier in the writing process, when I'm not like completely locked in, and it's so easy for me to be like, oh, let me just check Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I like to go to a cafe and I won't get
Mm,
the Wi-Fi so that I it's not as easy for me to go and look at social media.
right.
And I'll be like, okay, I've got 2 hours here or 2.5 hours. Let
Hmm.
me have lunch. I'm gonna have a nice salad, maybe a glass of
Yeah.
wine, maybe it's just coffee, whatever,
Yep.
and write with my laptop.
Yeah.
And I've always done that. Like, not always, but definitely since I've had kids. My son's now 20. Once I got a babysitter, and I was like, if I'm paying someone money to watch my kid, I need to use this time and write.
Totally. Yeah.
And I would get out of the house and go to a restaurant and be like, this is my like these are my 3 hours just writing. Um,
Does location does location help you? Because also you wrote, I'm assuming the idea of you in LA and Crash Into Me in Paris.
yes. Oh, the first 100, maybe 200, 150 pages I wrote in LA before moving to,
Oh, oh, right. Because okay, because you were
and then I
working on
went
it for
back.
a few
I spent
years.
a summer back east one summer and wrote like another 100 page or 70 pages. So I was all over. I was all
Yeah.
over. Um, Location changes in that when I'm writing in cafes, it changes
Hmm.
because in France and Europe in general, it's easy for me to tune out conversations.
Hmm.
In America, it's not because they're speaking English and I hear everything.
Right.
But in French, I can, if I'm focusing, I can understand. But if I don't focus, it's just background noise. And
Yeah.
so it's easier to write in cafes here for me than it is to write in America.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but when I'm really locked in, I'm just alone in my room, like whether it's a hotel room or it's my office here, and I don't have extra noise
Yeah.
on.
And I know you said you had writer's block for a few
Did
years
I
before this
did
book.
like 3 years.
What was that like and how did you get over that?
It was hell. I'd never had anything like that before.
Mm,
Ending the idea of you, I was so in love with those characters. I felt a lot of, I missed them. I miss writing for
yeah.
them. I felt guilty about how they ended for him on his behalf. I
Yeah.
felt badly for him. I cried for
Oh.
him. forever. Like I would go into my closet and cry for like, I would say like a year, a full year, all curled up. Because I couldn't do it in my bedroom because my husband would be like, "You're crying about Hayes Campbell again." That's like, how do you explain to your husband that you are crying about someone who does not exist, that you are so
Oh.
in love with this person that does not exist? A, you've broken his heart. B, he doesn't exist. I was like, and you're crying
Your
for like
husband's like,
multiple
I think it's
things.
time for us to go to couples therapy.
It's like I can't, he's not here, but also like he's not here because I pushed him away. Like, but like, yeah, it was really, really hard, and I didn't want to write for anyone else for a while after. And
Yeah.
then anything I came up with, I was like, it's not as good as Hayes and Selene. It's not like it's not Hayes, it's not Selene. But I couldn't. I felt like I couldn't write. Like I started something new. Every new story just sounded like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to write. And then I didn't know. Like I really didn't. And then I also felt a lot of frustration because the book was published and um a lot of people were expecting it to be a romance and like into, have all follow the romance formula and it didn't. And so I got a lot of irate letters from people who were angry at me,
Hmm.
wanting a sequel. I'd never intended to write a sequel. And so I was really kind of thrown, like, what did I do wrong to make them think this was a romance or market it as a romance or package it as a romance? Like, is that my fault? Like, how does one write a love story that's clearly not a romance? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I mean, I know there's a whole thing in the romance genre of the HEA,
the
happily ever
HEA.
after,
Yep. Yep.
but does does your book have to have a happily ever after for it to be considered a romance?
There are people who believe so, yes. A lot,
Oh,
I think the majority
brother.
do. Or a happy for now, and then you fix it in book two or book three.
Right.
They don't want to hear that that you're not going to fix it. Like,
Eek. So they were really
there are a lot of
coming
people who are
for
really
you.
angry and really,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, I don't want to go through that again. Um, what did I do wrong? How do I not do it again? Or how do I write something that has emotion and feeling and love and a connection and sex, but that they're not tempted to call a romance?
Mm,
Um, and so that was part of it, the writer's block. And then people were really loving it. And then I thought, well, how do I write something that they're going to really love
again, yeah.
again? And I had this expectation, how do I write something that my agent will love, my writers group will love, my editors will love, like all that stuff was weighing on me. And then we were in the first um, post-Obama administration, and things were kind of tricky. There was a lot going on in the country that was
Yep.
worrisome.
Yep.
There were a lot of school shootings, there were a lot of um, um,
Turmoil.
unnecessary police shootings.
Yep.
Um, there was a lot weighing on me, and I didn't feel like I could just write some happy, cheerful, rosy, love
Yeah.
story. The Me Too revelation was happening in Hollywood. I was super aware
Mm-hmm.
of that and what a lot of women were feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and the frustration and the anger and the pain and women telling their stories and people not believing them or having
Mm-hmm.
told stories all along and people not believing them and it taking something like 90 people to come forward before they lock certain people up. You know what I mean? Like, and that was all part of the discussion, the conversations happening around me. All these things were weighing on me, and I couldn't just write something that was going to be like easy because I wasn't feeling like life was easygoing.
Yeah.
And
Understandable.
I had kids, and I was worried for them in
Mm-hmm.
multiple ways. And I'm a woman of color. I'm a woman. Like all these different things were weighing on me, and I thought it would be false or um kind of like a lie to put out another story of a woman and maybe specifically a woman not of color or not white presenting who wasn't being affected by all these things.
Totally. Yeah.
And not to say that again, we're like we contain multitudes. Like we can be affected by all these things, but still be desirous of others, and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 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 of course.
so
But
I
that's
want
life, isn't it? It's like being
that's
able
life.
to hold like two truths, like that the world is terrible, but like I still want to have a
I'm
sexy
attracted to this person.
time.
Right, exactly. I want to feel beautiful. I want to be admired. I want to create art. I want to have sex. I want to do all these things,
Yeah,
even though the world is terrible.
there you have it.
Yeah.
For anyone who's interested in writing a book, myself included, what advice do you have?
Oh goodness. Read a lot. Read, 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 read. Read the kind of books that you want to write.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
Um, and also read other books. I mean, I think part of the reason people love the idea of you so much is because a lot of those who did love it and didn't have a problem with it thought they were getting a romance and then felt like, oh, this is so much different. Like this is delivering something different. And it's because
yeah.
I didn't read romance. I wasn't reading romance. I read a lot
Mm,
of literary fiction. So it's just more literary than most romance novels, and it was not following the rules, and so there were a lot of surprises for them. Just in the way the story's told, the language that I use, the culmination
mm-hmm.
of them coming together
Mm-hmm.
and then falling apart, like all of that was different because I was reading different types of books. So I think if you're only reading one kind of book, you get locked into that. And that's fine if that's the kind of book you want to write. But if you want to bend the rules a little and or bend the genres a little or stretch even, then read different kinds of genres. Like um for the last 10 years I've read a lot of romance because the way my book was positioned, I have a lot of friends now in the romance world.
Yeah.
And so I blurb a lot and I've read a lot of romance, but I've returned to reading literary fiction these last several months. 'Cause I can't, it's hard for me to read when I'm writing because I'm so influenced by other voices.
Totally.
So I've just returned to reading literary fiction. I'm like so happy. Like I'm just like, I remember this now. So like it's
That's your
just nice
happy
to like
place.
switch it. Yeah. And there was a period too with the idea of you when I was reading more suspenseful stuff. Like I was reading a lot of Gillian Flynn and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
Um, because I wanted to see how suspense looks on the page, you know, I mean, like, and to feel
Yeah.
that because I don't read a ton of suspense, and I wanted this book to be
Yeah.
suspenseful, even though it was going to have more literary and it has some romance, like
Right. Yeah.
so. But I think reading is invaluable, and I think you can tell a writer who is well read. You know what I mean?
Yes, for
Like,
sure.
and
For
it's not
sure.
just vocabulary; it's just rhythm. I think there's a rhythm to writing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really helps to write out loud. I'm constantly reading and rereading and rereading what I've written out loud so I can hear it. I can hear if I've repeated the same word 3 times
Oh,
in two
yeah.
paragraphs even. You know what I
Totally.
mean? Like besides the word the,
Totally.
or and or whatever. But
Yeah. No,
and a lot of people don't pick up on that. Or like
right.
and I'm intentional when I want to repeat a word, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
don't want a word repeated. Like I'm like, okay, I can't,
Yeah. You're like,
yeah.
pull out
I
the
Yeah,
thesaurus.
you're saying it
Um,
over and over, and sometimes like things like your eyes might scan it and not see it, but once because you've been looking at the same page over and over, or the
yeah.
same paragraphs over and over, but if you say it out loud, it might hit you differently. So I think
Yes.
that's really helpful.
I know
Get
I do that. I do that quite a bit because for my newsletter, I typically write a personal essay every month.
right,
And so, yeah, I will read it out loud and sometimes even just like record myself
yeah,
reading it out loud and then play it back so I can see, yeah, how just like
shortcomings.
how it feels.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, similarly, like I never really used to read like I read a lot of nonfiction. I read like psychology books. I also study astrology and
I did
I
that. See,
read
I
like
did
Buddhist philosophy books, all
right.
of that. So honestly, it was heated rivalry that got me
Oh, really?
into reading
Yeah.
romance. And so I blew through all six of those books in the month of January. And
Wow.
then and then that's
Wow.
why I was like, oh, also I'm gonna pick up your book because I
Right.
love that movie. So I was like, maybe because I'm someone like I love. I write a lot of personal essays even about my own like romantic history and
Right.
struggles with dating, etc. So I was like, oh, maybe I actually should be reading more romance novels. And so now I really want to write something nonfiction, but I can also imagine a world in which I might want to dabble in the
Right.
fiction world as well.
Yep. And the other thing is to get into a good writers group. I tell everyone to get into a
I know
writers.
that's, yeah,
It's the
that's
most
interesting.
important thing, I think. I mean, one
Yeah.
of the most important things because you're workshopping other people, you learn from their mistakes and you learn
Yeah.
what really works because you cannot possibly put out the amount of material there a group of you will put out. You know what I mean? And so you
Right.
get to see different writers at different stages of progress
Mm-hmm.
in a specific piece, but also different levels of writing, you know? And so
Yeah.
you see what works and what doesn't work. You see how a revision can be like flawless, like and like the notes they got between revision number one and revision two, or one and seven, whatever, like how much a piece can grow and how much a writer can grow. It helps to expose yourself to all that because when we're reading books, we're reading books that have been, if you're reading not self-published books, you're reading books that have been edited and edited and copywritten and edited like myriad
Totally.
times, like especially
Yeah.
the bigger, better houses, publishing houses.
Yeah.
And so you don't realize like what the writer turns in and like how many passes a writer takes even before
Totally. Yeah.
publishing
E-
team gets involved.
Even for my newsletter, I have an editor
Yeah,
because, I worked in media for over a decade and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable just putting my writing out there
absolutely.
without having, someone read it. And also, I really appreciate the feedback, of course, as like any writer does, but I also sometimes feel very sensitive about it.
Yeah,
Have you
I
struggled
totally
with
do.
that?
I totally do. Like, yes, I do. I
Like
always,
I cringe like knowing that I even like I woke up this morning, I had submitted, I'm doing like a little freelance writing for Who What Wear in the UK, and I
right.
don't really write fashion stuff anymore. And so I woke up this morning being like, oh, did they write me back with the edits? I'm like so
Right.
scared.
I
Like I don't
totally, it is because you want someone to be like, oh my God,
it's so
this is perfect.
it's so
Nothing.
exposing.
That's like
Like
A plus. Also, if you're especially if you're a straight A student, you're used to people being like A plus, done. You know,
right.
and like, what do you mean it's not perfect?
It's really
Um,
vulnerable. Writing
oh
is
my
so
God,
vulnerable.
so vulnerable. And you put yourself out there in a way that I don't think you do as an actor. I think as an actor,
Oh,
you you're emotionally raw. Like it's like peeling off your skin and letting people see like you go through everything. But
yeah.
the things you're going through on the screen, even if you're challenging something different, the story you're going through typically is not your story. It's something someone else
Right.
has written,
Right.
and you can be like, I was able to get that for that writer and that director, and look at this, like it's a wonderful collaborative event. But with writing, it's like, this is me. It's all me.
Tell me.
Even if I don't approve of my cover or the font or whatever, or the movie, between page one and page 373, that is all me. And there's nothing, there's no hiding.
Right.
And so when people judge it and they're not kind, it can
It's
feel
hard.
it's very painful.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. What's
Yes.
bringing you joy right now?
Oh gosh. Um, so I haven't gotten tired of it yet. We moved here, it'll be 4 years, July 1st. And every day I just like pinch myself. I cannot believe I get to live in Paris with my lover and my kids and write books and stroll along the Seine and sit in cafes, especially not today and yesterday because it's really, really hot.
Yep.
Spring, summer, and like sit outside in a cafe and have whether it's like fruit punch or a glass of rosé. Um, I feel like I'm on vacation every single day here. Even when the
So
weather is
fun.
crappy, when it's raining, when it's cold, I feel like I'm constantly on vacation. I have so much joy from being in Paris. The architecture, the art, the galleries, the people I've met, the friends I've made, like my neighborhood, like walking the dog every
Hmm.
night by the Seine and seeing the lights twinkle on the Eiffel Tower. Like
You're like, I'm in a movie.
I'm in a movie.
It's so
It's
nice.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's really magical. I'm happier here than I've ever been in my life. And
Oh my God, how incredible.
yeah, it's really, really, it's special.
I
It's
love
really
that.
special. So
Robin, thank you.
that's what I enjoy.
Robin, thank you so much for your
Thank
time
you for having me,
today.
Chrissy. Thank you.
I'm so excited for everyone to read Crash Into Me. It's
I am
available
too.
July 7th.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.